So they tried to hide this brand new Kamala interview, but guess what? I found it. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a brand new Kamala Harris interview from local news out there in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, what is going on here? Why was I not alerted about this interview? Why wasn't it a big deal? Why was there no marketing? Because let's just be totally clear. This is actually her very first interview by herself of the entire campaign. It's a pretty big deal. I mean, the first one with Tim Walz was a big deal. They did a lot of marketing and all kind of stuff, made it be a big thing. So why is this one being suppressed? I think we know the answer. I think we know why they don't want us to see this. But guess what? I seen it. You guys are going to see it as well. Now, I don't want to waste no time. Let's get straight into it. We're going to watch the entire thing, okay? And of course, I'm going to pause it at certain points to give my 2 cents, but I will also link to the entire 11-minute, 19-second clip in the box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
All good?
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Good. Awesome. Madam Vice President, pleasure to meet you. Thanks for your time today. Our audience appreciates your time as well.
Of course.
As you know, we're sitting here in a state and arguably in front of an audience that 54 days from now could decide the outcome of this presidential election. Yeah. You hear it more than I do. People want to know more about you and about your specific plans. At the debate the other night, you talked about creating an opportunity economy. Mm-hmm. I wonder if we can drill down on that a little bit. When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was...
Stop right here. Stop right here. So, Kamala, are we just going to give the same debate answers? Is that what we're going to do? And then to my man, are you giving her questions that fit into what you know that she can answer? Okay, is it going to be any kind of off-the-cuff questions? Anything that's different than what she's been coached on so far? Let's see if that happens.
Was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, you know, construction workers and nurses and teachers, and I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, you know, but a lot of people will relate to this. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn.
Kamala, you've lived in quite a few places. You lived over on the West Coast. You lived in the Midwest. You lived in French Canada from age 12 to, what, 19, 20? So you're talking about middle school, high school, college for the first year before you went to the HBCU, Howard. So which community are we talking about? Were they all the same or were they different?
You know, and I was raised to believe and to know that all people deserve dignity, and that we as Americans have a beautiful character. You know, we have ambitions and aspirations and dreams, but not everyone necessarily has access to the resources that can help them fuel those dreams and ambitions. So when I talk about building an opportunity economy, it is very much with the mind of investing in the ambitions and aspirations and the incredible work ethic of the American people, and creating opportunity for people, for example, to start a small business. My mother, you know, worked long hours, and our neighbor helped raise us. We used to call her, I still call her, our second mother.
Now, I'm seeing this earring right here. I'm hearing rumors about this could be some type of some kind of earpiece where she can hear. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that, but I do see the same earring that she had on during the debate. Was this after the debate? Because she's in Philadelphia again for some reason. I don't really understand why, but let's keep on going.
She was a small business owner. I love our small business owners. I learned who they are from my childhood, and she was a community leader. She hired locally. She mentored. Our small businesses are so much a part of the fabric of our communities, not to mention, really, I think, the backbone of America's economy. So my opportunity economy plan includes giving startups a $50,000 tax deduction to start their small business. It used to be $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. But investing...
You can. You can. That's not really true. I mean, you could start with no money depending upon what you're doing. I don't understand. Like this lady, man. Y'all want to vote for her for real? Any Kamala supporters out there, please tell me why you want to vote for this lady.
In people's innovative ideas and giving them the ability to go for it. Opportunity economy means, look, we don't have enough housing in America. We have a housing supply shortage. And what that means, in particular for so many younger Americans, the American dream is elusive. It's just actually not attainable. So part of my plan is to work with the private sector and housing developers to give them a tax credit, to be able to partner with us as the government to build, and my goal is 3 million new homes by the end of my first term. In addition, to help people who just want to get their foot in the door, literally. And so giving first-time home buyers a $25,000 down payment assistance to be able to just get in the door, and then they will do the work that they need to do to save and to pay that mortgage and to build wealth for themselves and their family.
$25,000 ain't no money, especially in one of your original home states, Miss Kamala Harris, California. I mean, look, you go to Los Angeles, somewhere like this, or even not necessarily in the big city, for something that's small, kind of beat down, 500,000, 600,000. And if you're going to pay 20% down on a home that costs 500,000, you're going to have $100,000 or so. Okay. Right around that. Nearly six figures, between 80 and 100. What's 25,000? And if you need that kind of assistance, can you even afford the mortgage?
These are some examples of what I mean when I talk about an opportunity economy, and a lot of it has to do with just the community I was raised in and the people that I admired, who work hard, and deserve to have, their dreams fulfilled because they're prepared to work for it.
You talked at the debate and at previous appearances about turning the page on the past. And in fact, here today in Johnstown, you're talking about a new way forward. Yeah. I think some people have a question, given maybe your current role as Vice President of the United States, how different you are from Joe Biden. And so I wonder if there are one or two spots, policy areas or approaches where you would say, I'm a different person.
Well, I'm obviously not Joe Biden. And, I offer a new generation of leadership. And so, for example, thinking about developing and creating an opportunity economy where...
I mean, she's really, really bad. She's really, really bad. This is terrible.
It's about investing in areas that really need a lot of work. And maybe focusing on, again, the aspirations and the dreams, but also just recognizing that at this moment in time, some of the stuff we could take for granted years ago, we can't take for granted anymore. For example, another plan that I have that is a new approach is to expand the child tax credit to $6,000 for young families for the first year of their child's life, because that is obviously a very critical stage of development of a child.
Now, I got a question, Kamala. You're talking about $6,000 for child tax credit, $25,000 for a new home down payment, things of this nature. Now, how much money are these migrants getting from the bills that you were the deciding vote on, the Inflation Reduction Act, things of this nature? How much money are they getting? I'm hearing stories, Kamala Harris, about migrant families getting $5,000, $10,000, up to $20,000 a month. A month. You're talking about $6,000 for a child tax credit one time in the year, when they're getting up to $20,000 in a month. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. The math ain't mathing. The math is not mathing.
Child. And a lot of young parents need the help to buy a car seat or a crib or clothes for their kids. And so my approach is about new ideas, new policies that are directed at the current moment. And also, to be very honest with you, my focus is very much in what we need to do over the next 10, 20 years to catch up to the 21st century around, again, capacity, but also challenges.
crime and public safety are two major issues, right at the forefront of voters' minds. In Philadelphia as well, where crime is a significant issue. When we talk about crime, the conversation turns to gun safety as well. And I think you actually probably caught a lot of people off guard, maybe a bit by surprise in the debate the other night when you mentioned that you are a gun owner. I know you said it in 2019 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that she has a gun? Do you believe that Kamala Harris is a gun owner? Y'all let me know in the comments. And what kind of gun do you think she has if she has one?
What about your values on this issue? When it comes to gun ownership, where do you draw the line in America on gun ownership and gun use?
Well, like you said, Brian, I am a gun owner, and Tim Walz, my running mate, is also a gun owner. We're not taking anybody's guns away. I support the Second Amendment, and I support reasonable gun safety laws.
But
part of my approach to this is I was a career prosecutor for most of my career. I have personally prosecuted homicide cases. I have personally looked at autopsies. I have personally seen what assault weapons do to the human body. And so I feel very strongly that it is consistent with the Second Amendment and your right to own a gun to also say we need an assault weapons ban.
What is an assault weapon, though? What is that really? Because I keep hearing this little buzzword from politicians, but define assault weapon. Because any weapon that I assault you with or that I could assault you with could be classified as an assault weapon. Hey, you know what? If I take this cell phone and crack you in the head with it, this is an assault cell phone. So are we going to ban phones? Like, I'm trying to figure out what we're doing here exactly. I don't believe she owns a weapon. I don't believe she's ever touched a gun before in her life. I don't think so. I think she's just doing whatever they tell her to do. She's been coached. She's been trained for these specific little answers, and she's just repeating it. That's what it sounds like to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's keep on going.
Literally tools of war. They were literally designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. I say we need universal background checks. The majority of NRA members support that.
You already got that. That ain't nothing new. You go to the gun store, you got to go through a background check. It is what it is.
Why? Because it's just reasonable. You just might want to know before someone can buy a lethal weapon if they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves or others. You just might want to know.
So is that a red flag law endorsement? That's what it sounds like.
Two final questions, if I might.
Sure.
On the appeal of the man you were running against, as you drove here today, you likely saw a lot of Trump signs. Mm-hmm. He has an historic appeal in this country. And as you are someone running against him and trying to understand that, I wonder how you distill it. What do you understand his appeal to be? And how do you speak to his voters? Or maybe people who just share his values but are open to something else?
I, based on experience and a lived experience, no. In my heart, I know, in my soul, I know that the vast majority of us as Americans have so much more in common than what separates us. And I also believe that I am accurate in knowing that most Americans want a leader who brings us together as Americans and not someone who professes to be a leader who is trying to have us point our fingers at each other. I think people are exhausted with that approach, to be honest with you. I think people want a leader who has common sense and tries to find common ground. I'm supported by over 200 Republicans who worked for both Presidents Bush, John McCain, Mitt Romney.
Oh, great. Shining, ringing endorsement. John McCain, Mitt Romney, who else? Liz Cheney, all these people. Is that who you're going to say? You're going to tout that as a Republican endorsement? Okay. Okie dokie.
I'm supported by the former Vice President Dick Cheney, former Congress member Liz Cheney. And I think people are more willing now, in light of the hate and division that we see coming out of Donald Trump, to say, hey, let's put country first. And I think that just makes us stronger and more healthy as a country. To say, look, we can all debate our differences around, various policies, but let's stop with the division. Like, enough of that. Let's bring everybody together.
That's a great way to put it. Let's stop all the division. Let's come together. Now, what you should do, rather than trying to preach to Republicans or Donald Trump, you should preach that to your own people. Preach that to your current administration, the Biden-Harris administration. Preach that to mainstream media, ABC, CBS, etc. Preach that to them rather than us, because it's one side of the aisle that has a division problem, and it's not over on the right.
And finally, as you introduce yourself to America in a new way, they've heard much of your story at the Democratic National Convention and in that debate earlier this week. If there's one thing that you wish Americans knew about who Kamala Harris is that you don't think they know yet, what would that be?
Softball interview at best. Softball interview, just a little conversation, short interview, only about 10 minutes, whack. But let's hear the answer.
I don't know. I mean, probably it's not very different from anybody watching right now. I love my family. One of my favorite things that I lately have not been able to do is Sunday family dinner. I love to cook. I have incredible friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still my best friend. I think that, I mean, I have a career that really, and I said it the other day, you know, as a career prosecutor, I never asked a victim of crime, were they a Republican or a Democrat. The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay? And I think that's the approach that most Americans want, regardless of who they voted for in the last election, in terms of turning the page and charting the way forward.
I imagine you're looking forward to cooking Sunday dinner again.
I am looking forward. Yes, I am looking forward to cooking. With the whole family gets involved, the kids each have their role. Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful family, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, Brian.
So much.
Thank you.
All right, so that is Kamala Harris's very first solo interview of the 2024 presidential campaign. All right, so how'd y'all like that? Was it a great interview? Did you learn something new? Did you hear anything else other than what she said during the actual debate? This is a mess. I mean, really, Kamala, people, I don't understand. You can watch stuff like this and be like, you know what? That's our champion. That's our leader. Listen, I'm a conservative person. I'm not going to vote Kamala, but if she was a good candidate, I could just give her some respect. Like, okay, she's good, but she's bad. She's been bad. She was bad in 2020 when she ran the first time. She dropped out in 2019 before the primaries even happened. She was bad then. She's bad now. The Democrats were pretty much stuck with her. They were trying to replace her, if you remember, earlier in the year. They were trying to replace her because they saw this whole thing coming. They knew it'd be kind of a slow speed train wreck, and going up against Trump, they didn't have enough. That's why they were trying to get her out of the way. And I want to add one last piece here, because some people call my show and say, hey, man, why do I vote? It's rigged anyway. They're going to put her in there. If it's rigged, then why are they trying so hard to hide this woman? If it's rigged, why were they trying to replace her? Okay. If it's rigged, then why do they have fake reviews about this lady coming from the mainstream media? If it's rigged, why do all of that when they could just manipulate the votes? Because it's not. They're trying to do whatever they can to prop this lady up and to demoralize you. So you just go out there and don't vote or take it for granted. No, go out there and vote. Vote immediately. Don't take it for granted. Don't just say, oh, my vote doesn't matter. No, go out there and vote in November for the orange man, not for this lady who clearly has no idea what's going on. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on Kamala Harris's very first solo interview? Why are they trying to hide it? Why did I have to go discover that? Why did I have to get tips from you guys? And shout out to you guys for sending me emails and tweets and whatnot about this. Thank you guys for that. Because if y'all, listen, if y'all didn't tell me, I would have had no idea. Maybe until a couple of days later, it wasn't anywhere on my radar, and I'm plugged into politics. So imagine the regular everyday person who is not plugged into politics. They would have completely missed that interview altogether. And I think it's pretty important for the American people to know who is running for president, whoever it is, left, right. I want to know who these people are, because when I go out there and vote, I want to know who I'm voting for and why. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that is all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.